So if I swore by Allah's name, what should I do? You should pay the kaffarah. And what is the kaffarah? What is the atonement of oaths? Allah mentioned this in the Quran, where He says, Allah has already ordained for you believers a way to release you from such oaths. So what is that? The Prophet says, anyone who swears about something and then discovers that a different thing is better, should do the better thing and atone for this oath. What does that mean? It means that it is not mandatory for you to carry on with your oath. I say, Wallahi, I'm not going for lunch in my brother's house tomorrow. And I'm angry because we have respect issues. But then when I think about it, okay, if I don't go, I'm gonna make a stance. And people would understand why. But if I go, this would soften my brother's heart, and he would feel and sense his mistake and how I am the one who's reaching out first. And that would make him embarrassed and maybe reconcile. So I think that the latter is the best alternative. But I made an oath. I said, Wallah, I'm not going. What to do? The Prophet says, whenever I swear over something and I see something better than it, I immediately expiate my oath and do the something which was better or which is better. So I give the atonement, the kaffarah, and do it. And what is the kaffarah? Allah says in the Quran, the breaking of an oath must be atoned for by feeding 10 needy persons with more or less the same food as you normally give to your own families, or by clothing them, or by freeing one slave. He who cannot afford any of these shall fast 3 days instead. So now you are given a choice of 3. It's up to you, up to your own preference, whatever you want. Either feed 10 poor people, and they have to be separate 10 people. It's not sufficient to feed one person 10 times or 5 persons twice. They have to be 10 separate different individuals, and they have to be poor. And I have to feed them with something that is among the norm of my eating. So a normal meal, I shouldn't go for a single sandwich that is not a normal meal, where I usually take 3 sandwiches or 2. And it shouldn't be something like a falafel, which is nice, but it's not the average meal. In Arabia, the average meal is a plate of rice with some meat or some chicken on it. This is an average meal. So scholars say either you feed them cooked food of your average meal that you eat and your kids and family every day, or you give each poor person 1.125 grams of rice. So this is half a sa', 2 mud. And this raw rice is a lot. It's good for 3 meals, maybe, or 4 meals, or maybe more. But because it's raw, you're giving it to him in this fashion. Or if you don't want to feed them, you should clothe 10 people. And clothing them differs from one area to the other. So in Arabia, you just give them this thobe, this white shirt, long shirt, with a topping on the head like the one I'm wearing. That's sufficient for one person. Other countries, maybe a pair of jeans and a t-shirt or a shirt would be clothing, and so on. Or I may free a slave. I have the option to do either one of these three, up to my own preference. If I am financially unable, in this case, I can fast 3 days. The vast majority of Muslims immediately jump the gun. They immediately go for fasting. Though they're capable of feeding 10 people, they are rich, they have money, but they always thought, according to the people around them, that fasting is the atonement. And whoever does this while financially capable of feeding 10 people, his fasting does not expiate his oath. He has to pay for it again.